Hello, welcome to a new video series called Phil Buys a Cheap Project Car. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while. It's not something I've ever done before. I've never done anything like this. As far as working on cars, on my daily driver, I can change the brakes, do an oil change, change the spark plugs. But in general, if something would take me more than a weekend, because it's my daily driver, I would just bring it to a mechanic because I didn't want to have to rent a car or something and I need to get to work on Monday. So the point of this is to learn how to do the more advanced stuff on a project car and not worry about having it sit there for a day or two or a week while I actually get to work on it. The other thing is I do eventually want to get this car to a track and drive it around. And if I was driving my daily driver, I know I wouldn't drive it very hard because I don't want to crash it. And so I will be buying a car that's cheap enough where I don't obviously want to crash it, but if I were to crash it, it wouldn't be the end of the world. So, what are my criteria? I guess that's where we should start. Criteria. 1, I have a budget. So my budget is going to be $5,000 Canadian. I'll leave a little room up to $6,000 for taxes and stuff, but in general, I want to hit $5,000. And that's $5,000 to buy the car and get it ready for the track. That means doing a little bit of work on it and brakes or whatever and getting it ready. I can't go out and buy a $4,500 car. And also part of this is to learn how to work on stuff. So maybe I buy something a little bit cheaper and do a little work on it. So $5,000 is the budget. Number 2, has to be light. Has to be a fairly light car or at least have good power to weight ratio. I don't think I'm going to be able to afford a lot of horsepower in this price range. So a light car is going to be important. And also maybe I'm taking it on the track, but maybe I'm also interested in doing a little autocross. And I know, lighter is better. So light is good. Number 3 is the community that goes with these cars. Again, for this price, I'm probably going to be buying a car that's, 10, 15 years old. So that means that I'll be able to go online. I need to be able to go to the forums to figure out, because I don't know what I'm doing in most of the cases. I need YouTube videos, I need forums. I need to make sure that I can go and look up how to remove things or change bits. Also what works and what doesn't, because the next thing on the list is aftermarket support. What parts are available for this car? So yes, I can get a cheap car, it can be light, but let's say I pay $2,500 for a car. If it costs me $2,500 to get any decent power out of the engine or to get brakes on it, that's not great. So aftermarket support and a community that knows which ones to buy and which ones not to buy is pretty important. So now we've talked about my requirements, let's talk about my preferences. Well, first I want rear-wheel drive. Now, that's a preference. I understand that in this price range, it's probably pretty limiting. Maybe a Miata. People with Miatas are crazy with their pricing, so who knows? I'm probably not in my price range. An older BMW would be interesting as well. They can be kind of heavy, but they're definitely on my list. The E90s are sort of in this price range if they're not in great condition, but they are fairly heavy. I think they're like 3,600 pounds. So, and then there's the Mustang. So Mustang's a rear-wheel drive. Not really interested in a Mustang, but it fits the criteria. So I'm probably going to end up with a front-wheel drive car, and I'm fine with that. So I can go either way. I do not want an all-wheel drive car. Too heavy. Too many problems with older cars. I don't want the all-wheel drive system to break and probably get pretty expensive. So front or rear-wheel drive is my preference. Now, the idea behind this project, yes, I want to get the car to the track in $5,000, but it's to be able to have a little headroom with the power and build it up over the years. As I dump money into this, I want to be able to keep getting more performance out of these cars. So because of that, I think I'm going to have to go with forced induction, which means yes, it has a lot of problem with these older engines because you take an older engine, it's old seals. You add extra boost, extra pressure, you blow out seals, you blow up the engine. But I think that's just going to be, part of the adventure, I guess. And so I'll figure that out when I come to it. There are some naturally aspirated engines that do have a lot of headroom, but I think probably what's going to happen, you can do headers and you can do intake and maybe some engine tuning. But I think with naturally aspirated, you end up having to do big things like stroker kits or bore, or a complete engine swap. So those can get extremely expensive very quickly, and extremely complex very quickly. And there's no way I can do a bore myself. I can tune a turbo engine or put new injectors in probably on a turbo engine, but I don't think I can do new sleeves or bore on a naturally aspirated. So I probably am going to go forced induction for that reason. So forced induction, front or rear wheel drive are my preferences. So now it's just a matter of I've already started the search. I've started doing some research, so I'm going to look around, and as soon as I choose out a car, I'll let you know.